Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Sim Racing Alliance. It's season 13. We are starting out tonight strong.
As they do go side by side. It is the formation lap almost done. They will look, all eyes to the lights. That's going to be an amazing start.
And we have a crash in turn 1 already. What's going on?
On to the bus stop straight. Goes for it around the outside.
More contact behind. That is huge. A couple of gainers in that one.
She's given it everything. She has to. I'm not sure that it's over yet, though.
This is the last opportunity.
We're off and away for SRA.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to SRA Season 14. This is Division 2, Round 3. We are here at Snetterton. I am Mac Morgan, and I'm joined here in the commentary booth with Ilpo.
Hi.
And Arjun.
Hey everyone, welcome back. Oh god, Snetterton, the most unpopular track in sim racing. Back for SRA against it for the first time in, I think, 6 seasons? I don't know, I can't count. Last time, no, actually no, 4 seasons. Last time we saw Snetterton was in season 10. So
Yeah, that was before I was here, so it's been a while since SRA's been here, and it's been forever since I've been here, since I've never actually been here before.
yeah, I mean, it's like, we did our races yesterday, and so yeah, as Snetterton, I think we are gonna see an amazing race because the league, I'm just struggling for words for now. Give me a moment to collect myself, but yeah, the divs haven't reshuffled. We don't have a lot of people in D2, a lot of change in D2, but I feel like we're gonna see a pretty busy grid in Snetterton, and you don't expect that because this is a short track, laps long, but it average speed so slow. It's a short track, and if you've seen D1 yesterday, where we had a full 50-car grid, it is absolutely chaotic.
Oh yeah, and it's not just chaotic when you got the full grid. The D5 race last night was also pretty chaotic. A lot of incidents. It's a tight track. It makes it really difficult to overtake, but also it means that when there's side-by-side action, it's unfortunately not uncommon for there to be incidents. There's about one spot on the entire track where you can go 3 wide safely, and that's the back straight.
I mean, that's a straight. That's not really a corner.
Exactly. Yeah, it's so difficult to race around this track. You got that long corner of turn 1 into the tight hairpin of turn 2. And that's really like a common thing through this track is you got these long corners that kind of lead into the tight corners. Because you got turn 1 into turn 2, it's a long corner into a tight corner. You got turn 3 into turn 4, which is once again a long corner of turn 3 into the tight hairpin like corner of turn 4. And then once again you have that with turns 5 and 6. And so that's like the first half of the lap is you're going through a long corner, you're trying to hold on to as much speed as possible, and then hit the brakes hard as you can. Got to get around that slower corner. And then of course you got the chicane, turns 8 and 9. I think that we could definitely see some major mistakes in that section of the track right at the start of sector 3.
Oh, especially with your cold tires, you're gonna be braking as you turn into turn 8. Because turn 9 is super narrow and it's a 90-degree corner. You have to slow down so much, and it's so easy to get the car to step out, or it's also super easy to miss your braking line ever so slightly going into turn 8 and just running the cars wide into turn 9. We've seen so many accidents in the past. We've seen so many accidents in the practice race, and we for sure did see a lot of accidents in that corner yesterday. Completely expecting that to happen here.
Speaking of the practice race, a great example of just how tight this track is, the D5, D6 practice race. Of course, those aren't the drivers we're going to be watching today, but I don't remember how exactly it started, but they wound up nearly half the grid was in the grass before turn one, before pit exit even, during the practice race.
Oh yeah, I mean, yeah. I guess it's the perks of a narrow track. I guess, or perks. I see the nerves of a narrow track. As like I said, it's an unpopular track. We're seeing a lot of distaste for this track in the race chat. Actually, I don't know. I have multiple experiences, 2 different experiences driving in an SRA. I feel like this track, you just need, for one, a car that can handle the bumps, which I drive the BMW in right now, so it's a car that can feel nice to drive here, and you just need a lot of patience. You just need a lot of patience, especially because the track's just so bumpy. You can't run it wide, and even if you miss a braking zone, you just gotta ride the waves, and you just gotta say, okay, this is gonna suck, but we just gotta ride it out. And
yeah, I think you're 100% right there. It's just such a difficult track.
And once you actually let that fact, once you get those 2 things into you, you can start enjoying this track. And I had, for all intents and purposes, a pretty pleasant race yesterday in D1. A complete contrast to the last time I did Snetterton season 10, and I drove the Honda, and I kept dying. I died at turn 1, and it was not a fun race. And that was also in D2, but you can have different experiences in the track. You just need to work on your patience and just be able to take those curbs and bumps. Opa, what do you think about this track? I know you have been a vocal supporter of Snetterton historically.
I mean, I think it's a little bit tight for the GT3 cars, but I mean it's a fine track. It's the best they can do with the space given. I don't like the fact that there's so many hairpins. Like, there's 3 corners that are definitely hairpin-like. I'm not a huge fan, but I mean, it's okay. I do think it's actually really fun in some of the smaller cars where it's much easier to go side by side and overtake.
Oh yeah, I mean, judging by how this track layout looks, it just recalled me. It looks like a go-kart track. The layout. Yeah, it's go-kart track. They try to cram as much corners as they can into short places.
I'm not sure if I remember correctly, but I have a feeling this was one of those ex-airfields turned into racetracks, which are very common in the UK. A lot of the temporary airfields that were built during the Second World War turned into racetracks after, since they had the space and there wasn't too much people living nearby, obviously, because they built the airfields in empty spaces. I don't remember. I think this might be one of those.
I do believe you are correct. I think I remember looking up the Wikipedia article for this track during the practice timings, just out of curiosity. And I think you're right. I do believe it was an airfield.
Yes, I can confirm that it was an airfield used by the RAF, and it was closed in 1948 and turned into a racetrack.
Yes, and that kind of defines the layouts a lot on these tracks, because they have a certain area available, and they want to have a track that has a certain minimum length, because certain car classes don't want to race on tracks that are too short. And to make a long track in a small amount of space, well, you have to get a little bit creative.
Yeah. Well, to add a bit more context to the airfield, the only tarmac part of the airfield it is using is the back straight, which happens to be one of the runways. But this is not even the main layout of the track. There was the no-show track, judging by Wikipedia, uses the outer perimeter road, and this uses one of the runways. So yeah, it is an airfield circuit, and it is a narrow one.
Yeah.
But anyways, enough yapping about the track. Let's go on to stuff that's actually happening on track. The solo drivers are about to start their laps. Actually, wait, who's actually starting the lap right now?
McDonald is at the front, I believe.
Oh, come on. There we go. No. Bear with me. It's been a hot minute. It's a hot minute. It's been what, a week. But yeah, here we have Harold McDonald. He's the first to start the lap. Another thing I want to point out for this track is the bop. We saw yesterday in D1 there was total domination for by the McLarens. We haven't seen McLarens be this strong in so long. So, are we gonna see the McLaren drivers pop off? Harold McDonald's, Kraus, and Kelly in who I believe are the only 3 McLarens we actually have on track. A stark contrast to D1's numerous McLarens.
You know, the McLarens were also pretty powerful in D5. Remember, if I recall correctly, the top 3 were all McLarens. So, yeah, definitely, you know, maybe Bob maybe favoring McLarens a little bit. But there were definitely McLarens further down the order, so I don't think it's a rule.
I don't think the BOP matters. Like the importance of BOP reduces when you go down the totem pole of driver skill. The better the drivers, the more the BOP matters because the skills get compressed. Like the differences in natural pace are much smaller, and then the cars matter much more. I would say D2, yeah, it probably still matters quite a bit, but still, it's very hard to tell what's really strong here because this track is rarely run in like top tier leagues, so there's not a whole lot of data to go by when you try to understand which cars are strong from like full alien grids.
Yeah. Another interesting thing you've noted about how BOP is less important at the top versus the bottom. So I wouldn't fully agree with that, but I do think something that is interesting is that sometimes for certain tracks, the BOP might actually be different depending on the skill level of the drivers. An example for this back in Indianapolis, up in the top divisions, the BMW wasn't horrible, but you know, probably wasn't the best car, but you know, BOP was helping with that. But down the lower divisions, the BMW was extremely hard to drive around Indianapolis, which led to it getting very much so outperformed in D5 by other cars.
But yeah, okay, that's another point to consider is that the BOP is just the pure theoretical maximum performance of the car in hands of a perfect driver. But as you go to the lower divisions, it also starts to matter quite significantly how easy the car is to drive, how easy it is to extract the performance from the car. There are some cars that are theoretically very capable of being very fast, like the Audi is a good example. It's really a strong car in general, but it's so extremely difficult to drive in a way that extracts all the performance that you rarely see it outside of like the absolute top tier drivers performing strongly.
Coming back to the action on track, speaking completely disregarding the conversation about Bob, Matthew Schwartz, I feel like he's one of the drivers that we need to look at for this race. He was absolutely rapid in the practice race, and he is one of the fastest drivers in the hot lap leaderboard. Alexis putting in the work here.
And
He's also
enough,
7/10 ahead of the rest of the field, so
That
I
too.
mean...
And he's improving as well.
And he's a silver driver.
He needs a silver driver. There we go. He's gonna get into the 45s here. He's gonna outclose.
I think I saw 1 or 2 D2 drivers doing a 45 on the practice servers. So yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if some of these guys manage it.
46.3 for him, not into the 45s. Yeah, it seems like he lost a bit of time. But that is still an impressive lap from him, nevertheless. Another driver to put in a strong lap is Jacob Hall. The BMW feels super nice to drive here. Not Bob related, it just feels nice to drive here. But
yeah, I think Schwartz is definitely going to wind up being the fastest of the silver drivers, unless somebody else shows up, suddenly finds some pace, because there seems to be a lot of pretty decent drivers out there, but I mean, Schwartz is already 3, almost 4 tenths ahead of the rest of the field and is improving by a 1.5 on his current lap. So, you know, I think it's a fairly safe bet that he will be able to hold this P1 position at least until the gold drivers come out.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah, that seems likely. Actually, I think. Yeah, now he's improving even more. But clearly the lap was not perfect, so there's even more in there.
Yeah, another driver improving is Ryan Cody, as well as Nico Suave, who is right in front of him. Perfect. And these guys are 3 tenths up, not pole contention, but they're gonna make a decent amount of places up. But it looks like Schwartz lost the time again. He's just not nailing the final sector.
It is tricky, and also because of the long sweeping right-hander, if you stay out too many laps in quali, you're gonna start to get tire degradation at some point.
Oh, absolutely. I think my tires, they were hanging on for just about 4 laps before they started falling off in qualifying. Granted, my last lap was the fastest, and the absolute next lap that I did, which when I crossed the pit start finish line before the time went out, my tires are absolutely gone. As our lead here seems to have improved to P12. Yeah, it looks like Schwartz is not improving. He's 2 tenths up on his personal best. A driver who is improving is Jacob Hall. He's not. He was 1.5 tenths up on his personal best. Now he's losing it.
Nico Suave is almost half a second up.
That is true.
Just said that I cursed him because he lost almost a 10.
Hey, he's back. He's back to 4 tenths. So yeah, we might see Nico Suave making up a decent position, but that said, Michael Schwarzenegger's also improving. He's actually half a second up. Never mind, he's losing it again. I mean, Snetterton is a difficult track. It's super technical.
Yeah, that's very much the nature of this track, is that you might have a really good lap, and then you make a single mistake in a single corner, and it's all gone. Like a tiny single mistake, and all of your improvement is gone.
Schwarzenegger gets 1 more lap to start. Does he have the tires though?
You know, I think another testament to the difficulty of this track is just looking at the time spread between our top drivers and our drivers who are currently at the bottom. You know, the 2.3 seconds behind is how far Jess Osborne is from our current pole position of with Michael Schwartz. Like it's a difficult track. I don't think that the qualifying gap has typically been quite this big, even with the silver drivers. So
Hall goes to second place. Hall makes a massive improvement going into second place.
Oh, nice.
That's true.
But yeah, just with that difficulty, it seems like it might be a little difficult for like the amount that the skill matters seems to be a bit more than usual. You know, just that little bit of extra pace seems to just be a bit more effective here due to that difficulty.
I feel like this track emphasizes accuracy very much, and risk taking, but like reasonable risk taking in quali. Because you need to, there's so many of those corners in the last part where you have to get really close to that sausage curb, but if you get too close, then you ruin the entire lap. So it's really a certain type of skill set where you push but don't overdo it. Osborne improved by like 7 tenths, but that unfortunately only gained 1 position.
Yeah, it looks like Schwartz has also improved. He sets 46.237, which marks the pole position for, actually not provisional polls, just straight up pole for the silver drivers. But Kraus is also improving. Restad's gonna put that McLaren up P2, right where he wants to be.
Massive improvements.
Oh yeah. And also I've noticed there isn't a lot of silver drivers here. There's only 13 silver drivers, but we have 32 people in the standings. Actually, we have 14 silver drivers. Looks like Henry Ramirez just joins us. He's gonna be missing qualifying.
He was in the server earlier. I wonder if he's having connection issues.
Or maybe
something.
he has a penalty.
That is also possible. I have not checked the list.
I could check it right now. You'd think that you'll be doing the homework to see who has penalties and who doesn't. Okay, outstanding penalties. Doesn't look like it. Oh, he just sucks. He's in the chat. It's alright. It's all been there.
Well, I mean, it doesn't really matter that much if you start from last, because on this track, you never know what's gonna happen.
Yeah. I mean, chances are you're not gonna get rear-ended into turn 1. But at least your back end is safe.
Well, that depends, because yesterday I started from last, didn't bother to set the qualifying time. And I didn't start from last, because whoever was side by side with me lifted even more before the start than I did.
Was it Carrie, my teammate?
Sounds... Yeah, I think the car looked the same livery as yours, so
Okay.
yeah, probably. And despite us starting like really far back from the grid, we were still right there in turn 2. Because the Constantina effect is so incredibly strong going into the hairpin.
Yeah, it's... Like, I got bumped 3 times in the race. Like, it's just not the hairpin, which is bad. Like, it's the whole lap that's bad, even the final corner. As we got our first D1 laps on... Not D1. D2 goal laps on the board. They're all D1. It doesn't matter. It's... SRA is close. Arc takes... Arc goes fastest for now. And Arc is one of our favorites.
Say, I'm not terribly surprised that Arc is the fastest of the gold drivers so far. Not terribly surprised.
I think the top 2 on the leaderboard before the race for the practice servers were Art and Bart. So
Yeah, and Art, you did have an insanely good Indy race. That was a pretty good Coda race, so yeah. All aboard the Art hype train.
He's definitely matching some D1 drivers for pace.
Matching? I think he's already beaten some of us.
Well, yes, he did definitely beat some of us in the Endurance Series, so there's that. But yeah, the first laps on this track don't really, in these conditions especially, don't really matter much, because you cannot get the tire temperatures up for the first lap. So let's see when the next laps come in.
Yeah, it must be noted that the laps might be long, right? This is minute and 45 second laps. This is longer than Kyalami and Imola, but the track is much shorter because the speeds are much lower.
Yeah, that's what you get when you have so many first gear hairpins.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'll tell you what, you mentioned earlier, tire temps, how long it takes for tires to get up to temperature. I don't know if you guys are having this experience, but I know that at least in the D5 race, there was there was a lot of issues with tire pressures. It is so hard to try to keep the tires in the window.
Yeah.
I heard a lot of people complaining about pressure losses, but
I had one.
None. So I would not know.
I had pressure loss, but I knew that was gonna come, so I just overinflated my tires to like 27 psi.
I just had blisters on the left side.
Me too.
And considering I pitted on lap 2, lap 3, something like that. The blisters were not really fun.
It
but-
also looked like your tires were wearing out fast because after I pitted, I was on your bumper almost immediately.
No, I pitted way earlier than you.
Yeah.
I really pitted like, I think it was at the end of second lap. Because when you're stuck in the queue, there's not really any reason
Yeah.
not to. Also, overtaking here is so hard.
Yeah, straight up impossible. As coming back to Schwartz, or speaking of Schwartz, his teammate, Sir Douglas Mitchell, is P2. Are we gonna see Doug actually pulling his own weight for now? For once. As you know, the Lexus have locked that provisional one front row.
It's possible, but I wouldn't count Arct out for possibly ruining a 1-2 for that team.
That's
I
said.
also think
Second row off
I
the
also
grid's
think-
also a team. It's Art and Roy Key.
Yeah, Roy Key also improving significantly, possibly on his way to maybe, just maybe being able to nab pole position if I don't curse him into this final corner. He's 3/10 up and he's only 2/10 down. He loses a bit of time on entry, but he seems to, yeah, he keeps
Oh,
losing.
no.
Oh, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry.
Wait, what?
I've just cursed him.
Wait, no,
And
you
it's
just...
10 hundredths.
Oh, that's super close.
10 thousandths of a second. I'm so sorry for cursing.
They're not done yet. They're not done. Speaking of others improving, we have Josh Damiani. He's half a second up on his personal best. He might be a shot of getting pole.
Arc is also improving now.
Yeah. Actually, looks like Josh is gaining even more time going into the final corner. That's going to be provisional pole for Josh Damiani. As long as he, doesn't run out of fuel, which he didn't, and that's pole for him. We're getting closer to the 45s here.
Yeah, we're getting pretty close, the 146.175 top time from Damiani. It's pretty close. It's just under 2/10. Only a minute and a half left to qualifying, plus however long it'll take people to end their laps. I'm not sure there's quite... I don't think we'll see anyone break into it, but I could be wrong.
I mean, we're super close there. Arc is improving, Doug is improving, and Anthony Kelly's also improving. But that's not going to be pole, but that's probably going to be close to the fray. Oh, it looks like Arc is not improving, but you know who else is improving? Doug. But let's go. Let's hop onto Doug's passenger camp for a bit.
Further down the field, Goriel is improving significantly. He's half a second up.
Yep.
Oh, Doug loses time in the last corner. I don't think it'll be enough for a pole, but he should still take a front row slot.
It's front row.
Yes, he does. Very close. Just 27 thousandths of a second.
Simon Goriel is also improving. That's gonna be. He's 6/10 up in his personal best. Where's that gonna put him?
That's gonna put him in top 10.
There we go. P8. Looks like Penis is also improving. We have seen strong showings from him and his team at Olhausen, at Coda, and Indy. So they should be up there if they want to be fighting for out there fighting for the championship.
I have a feeling this track doesn't really suit the car. The Ferrari is really tricky to drive on this track.
You know what car is actually struggling here? The Porsches. The Porsches, we have 4 Porsches in the bottom 6. And the highest Porsche is Patrick Rustin P18.
Yeah, it's not great for the Porsches.
Oh, Logate is also here out and fighting. You see, seen him slide. He seemed to have a good time at Coda, and he definitely did love the track. So I wonder if he's also gonna love this track as well.
I think the Porsches might be slightly hamstrung by the temperatures. The car is generally a little bit rough on.
I've been trying not to curse it, but Roy Key is up on his time, and he is currently on track to take pole position.
Oh, it's Arc and
heading up
really
to the
close.
line, really close. really close with Roy Key.
And
And
Roy Key goes
he
cool.
takes it.
Roy Key goes
He
pole.
takes it.
Also, we must preface that Roy Key has 0 points in the standings right now. He has not had a good code at Indy. So a pole means a lot to him because it is a huge bag of points if he can stay in P1.
Oh yeah. And this is also huge for his team because, of course, you know, up to this point, we've had Arc carrying the team with Roy Key. He's unfortunately not scoring points the last few rounds. If Roy Key can put in a good point score today, I mean, doors open. They could see themselves really pushing forward.
So yeah, that's our qualifying. And let's go on to the driver standings because I forgot to read out the times out. Okay, our P1 is tied between Art and Josh Damiani. He had an amazing battle at Coda, where Josh came out on top. They were pretty close at Indy, so 1-2 finishes for both of them, top of the points, followed closely by Thomas Holhausen, who's our first of the 2 Ferraris, followed by Penis in P4. These guys are our championship leaders right now. Followed by our first 488, Simon Gorio. He's had an amazing race. He's qualified P8 here. It'd be good to see what he can do. And then we have Logan is in the first of our many Lexuses, 85 points, followed by Patrick Rust, who has had a pretty decent race all around. He's here qualifying in P19. He's not having a good time at Snetterton. Followed by John Archie. We don't see him here. He had an amazing undercut pit strategy at Coda, which worked out wonderfully. And Josh Worley in the Bentley, followed by Timothy Judubal, David Funk, Sir Doug, who is in P3, Harold McDonald, Brooker Quigg, who is my fancy driver, and he's not showing up. Someone's getting fired tonight. Luis Vasquez, Anthony Kelly, Ian Wheeler, Nico Suave, Michael Schwarzenegger, who's my other fancy driver, and the other 488, he's Simon Gorio's teammate. And then we have Selena Boonstra, tied for points with Ian Byron, the other Bentley driver, with Nick Sand, Noah Comber, Neil Sutherland, Jack Sullivan, and Ryan Garrity. Going on to page 2, we have Andy Speed, Cody Platt, Andre Velasquez, Matthew Schwartz, who is actually starting P5 this race, so Lexus strong, I guess. Lexus dominating. And then we have Matt Schwitzer, Jess Osborne, Son Lace, Ryan Cody, Paulie Hartman. Wow, Paulie's so far down. What's up? I wonder. He's not here. Wait, this is the first ever SRA race that Paulie is missing? And then we have Wilder Vargas, Caleb Craig, Jacob Hall, who's starting P9, and Jack Krause, Carlos Guzman, Mark Sutherland, Connor Adams, Max Diggs, Pablo Ferrer, Alexandra Giordano, Roy Key, who's on pole. And yeah, that's about it for the standings. So going on to team standings, the Ferrari 296 team of Penis and Donald Olhausen are leading, followed by the Champion Motorsport Mustang of Josh Damiani and Ian Wheeler, followed by the Blind Hand Porsche of Patrick Rust and Brooker Quick. And then we have the 488 in P4 of all places, with Michael Schwarzenegger and Simon Gorio. They are pulling the weights on that track. And yeah, and then we have the first from McLaren's with Timothy Judubal and Anthony Kelly. That is the Me car. And then we have the Bentley, the Lincoln Park Bentley of Nico Suave and Josh Worley. And then we have Champion Motorsports with our championship leader, Art and Roy Key. This is going to be the race for they bag a lot of points. And then we have the Lexus Racing team of Caleb Craig and Logan. And then we have the other Lexus team of Matt Schwartz and Doug Mitchell. They are up there in the fight right now, and a good total of points if they can stay where they are. And then we have the GTR team of David Funk and Ryan Cody. And sure, we got more time. And then we have the other Bentley team. This is the Baltero team with Jack Sullivan and Ian Byron. And then we have our sole Lamborghini team, and none of the drivers showing up for the race, of John Archie and Matt Higgs. And then followed by the other race Forge McLaren of Harold McDonald and Jack Krause. These guys are the other Me car. And then we have the Harry Porter Lunar Motorsports team of Selena Boonstra and Jess Osborne, followed by the Latino Power BMW of Luis Vasquez and Pablo Ferrer. And we have the other Bluey car, I believe. Hugging Healers with Ryan Garrity and Son Leach. With the Super Mario Bros. Cars of Jacob Hall and Noah McComber. Jacob is starting P9. Good position qualifying from him today. And then we have the other Championship Motorsport Mustang, Cody Platt and Polly Hartman. And then we have the other BMW of Wilder Vargas and Andre Velasquez, and the other Champion Motorsports with Connor Anderson, Nick Sand. I thought he's in Pillars. And then we have the Sutherlands, and you have Diggs and Speed in the Porsches, and then we have Schwitzer and Levine in the other Porsche with Guzman, Carlos Guzman, the Guzmans, and Alexander Giordano being a sole driver running at the points table for team standings. Alright, that's enough yapping about the points. Let's go on to the race. These guys are entering the third sector and they're about to go second to file. What are you guys expecting in this race?
So I will point out that there's quite a high possibility of a very large shift in those team standings because the leading team qualified both drivers outside of top 10.
Oh yeah, they did, yeah. Oldhausen's in P11 and Penis is in P39, P16.
P16, yes.
So
that will hopefully make the championship for teams even more exciting.
Yeah, and as we're now about to go green, I forget where the track goes green, but I know that no car is going to be starting in the final corner, so that's good.
I do believe it's at the start when the leaders hit the start-finish line. That is when it goes green, if I'm not mistaken.
It is close to that. There's a little bit of randomness built into the green flag so that people cannot...
As they go green, and that's a great start from Roy Key. He boxes in Josh Damiani, and looks like Doug Mitchell is going to sit around the inside of the Mustang. Oh, Josh Damiani hits Roy Key. Doesn't look like Roy Key is going to get shoved out of the track. Doug takes P2. I repeat, Doug is in P2, followed by, looks like Argus trying to follow through. He tries to run Josh Damiani wide. They're going too wide, not enough to take the place. My PC freezer for a second there. They're both too wide. They're still too wide. Looks like Argus ahead, but Josh Damiani has the inside. And it looks like Schwartz has hung on to P5 there. What's going on here? Are they gonna... Is there any change position? Doesn't look like it. This is a McLaren barreling down behind. Who's that? That's Harold McDonald. He misses braking when he takes out Goriel. And looks like Josh Damiani stays ahead of Arc for now, but... Yeah, looks like he only had one incident so far.
I was going to say it was such a clean start, but then it wasn't.
There was some stuff at the back, but overall, it wasn't horrible. I didn't see too many cars. I didn't see any cars go airborne. Didn't see any turned around. We had that one guy go wide, Goriel. But beyond that, it's been pretty good so far. But we're heading into the chicane now. This is a very dangerous spot on lap 1.
Oh yeah, people might die. But it looks like everyone's just taking it pretty clean. As you have two Bentleys going too wide. They're going to take the whole bit of the track because of course they are. They're Bentleys after all. Where else? What else? You're not seeing a lot more stuff happening. It's a pretty clean lap. Bentleys are still going too wide. It looks like Jack Sullivan's gonna edge out in front of Worley, but doesn't... actually, never mind. The inside line's always better in the corner. It is super slow there. I need to catch my breath.
Yeah, you know, pretty clean race so far, but I tell you what, there has been one very notable thing that happened on that first lap. Douglas Mitchell got around Damiani, right? That's his first name?
Josh Damiani, yep. Josh
Damiani, right, couldn't remember. Douglas Mitchell around Josh Damiani. That's really important for Mitchell there because, again, this is a really hard track to overtake on. So getting that position on the start, getting into P2, now allows him to put direct pressure on Key. And that's when we get to the strategy, when we get to the potential of undercuts later in the race. I could open some doors for him.
Yeah, I missed out on this Bentley Orte. It looks like Worley got past Sullivan in the hairpin, and so did Ian Wheeler on Ryan Cody as Cody goes wide there. What's happened to him? Did he hit the curb? Did he have a funny bounce? Because, you know, that does happen on this track. And he loses 2 positions to Plan and Schwarzenegger.
Got the replay on the pip for you. Oh, seems like he just went out on the curb a little bit. Yeah, went a little wide onto the grass, lost a bunch of grip, but he seems to be fine now. Managed to keep it out of the wall, managed to get back on track safely.
Gotcha.
There's many places on this track where at the end of a curb there's a massive bump if you don't get back on the track before the curb ends.
This track is as bumpy as British people steed.
I mean, the track itself is not too bad, it's just the curbs that are really bumpy.
Yeah, well, the curbs are super bumpy here. And I don't think people who have not driven this track might notice it, but what's with the dip in turn 1? Like, the curb is curved, is dips, and then it suddenly just flattens out. Like, what's up with that?
Oh. Well, I mean, it is what it is.
It is
right?
what it is.
It looks like Doug is holding on to Roy Key, but Damian and Ark have fallen off a little bit.
Are we gonna see some Doug domination here? He has the fastest lap by a margin. I mean, it's only lap 2. But one thing I am interested to see is Harold McDonald. He has front end damage in the McLaren. How's that gonna affect his race? I got 8 seconds of rear end damage yesterday's race, and I was actually faster. I made more time by fixing the damage. So I wonder how slow is McDonald gonna be. But he is hanging on to Atlas pretty decently. But Hartman did see a couple dives. Well, he did look up the inside of the McLaren a couple of times last lap. So wonder if he's gonna commit to an overtake soon. That's coming back to the battle in front. Looks like Schwartz has caught up with Art. The Lexus does seem strong here. But not like overpowered. When I say overpowered, you have 3 Lexuses in the top 6.
I mean, the track does have 2 rather very long straights, so it is not necessarily surprising the car is pretty good here.
I mean, are these straights really long? Like, it's not long enough to get any much overtakes done.
No, but it is long enough to make some gains on speed. Also, the car does accelerate pretty well from the hairpins, which is not harmful on a track that has 3 hairpins.
Right. It looks like we have our first pitter in the form of Ian Wheeler, and actually it looked like McDonald was about to overtake Vasquez here.
I'm sure nobody is surprised that the Lexuses have the fastest speed trap speeds, and you said it's not a long straight, but Roy Key's top speed is 240, Doug Mitchell's top speed is 246 in kph. So that is actually quite a significant difference.
246 is not a huge top speed, but that difference is crazy.
Yes. Not even the Fords can get anywhere near the Lexus on top speed here.
I mean, it's the Lexus. We know the Lexus has ridiculous amount of top speed.
Schwartz hit Arced.
No. What happened here? Can I just look at the replay? Oh, we can. What happened here? Looks like he just dives in deep and just knocks the BMW, spins him around, skates across the curb, and he gets taken out by Logan again. That is unfortunate for Art.
That is super unfortunate. He is lucky in one respect though, and that is that he has done well in the previous 2 races. And we do have drop races in SRA, so this is super unfortunate for Art. But if he winds up coming away with a not ideal finish, as he's all the way down in 30th with what seems to be quite a bit of damage, definitely coming into the pits this lap. But just super unfortunate. But not necessarily the end of his season.
Well, I mean, yeah, if you got 1 drop race, and this would have been his to-be drop race anyway, since starting he was in P4, but that seems unfortunate for him.
Problem is that even though we have a drop race, if you need to use it this early in the season, you don't have any margin for error.
Oh yeah, I've experienced that. I had an incident at Coda, made me DNF, and then that put the pressure on me for this race. Like, hey, you have to perform, and I didn't. And honestly, season over at this point, because it's 2 races that I've had to DNF. And once that happens, any chances of championship, I won't say they're gone, but they're gonna be a lot more difficult.
Oh, absolutely.
Looking at the pit stop statistics, Wheeler's pit stop was a normal pit stop, not a repair pit stop, just a normal pit stop. Arc is definitely repairing. He's been stationary already way too long.
Well, yep, he looks like he's moving again, and he also looks like he is not gonna become a lap down. Fingers crossed. It is a long pit lane, but it looks like
he's fine.
He's fine. I mean, that's the important part here. Is that if you're a lap down, your race is over. Even if you're last, you can still make up a bit of time if you have the pace. And now he has the clean air, and I feel like Arc still has a pretty good chance of a recovery drive.
Well, I mean, he can. I would say top 10 is possible for him, but much higher than that, I don't know. He spent about 17 extra seconds repairing.
That is actually a lot of damage. 17 seconds. As he got battles going on here, it looks like Vasquez. It looks like Mueller is getting past. Actually, no, it looks like Vasquez trying to get past Mueller, but fails to get past. And Harold McDonald's still hanging on here. As Simon Gorio gets past his teammate Schwarzenegger. I believe Gorio has pitted, or is he? No, he got taken out by
Vasquez
McDonald.
Went a little wide on the exit of turn 4 there. Lost 2 spots, McDonald and Hartman. I think it was might have been a result of a little bit of contact with McDonald. Not entirely sure. Only caught the tail end of it, but unfortunate for Vasquez.
Yes, you have that battle going down in the pit. Trying to find something else. Oh, it looks like Swirly Whirly. He's trying to get past gets past Vasquez as well, but he backs out as these drivers are going super deep here. Looks like Vasquez is getting up and close. You have a McLaren out wide. That's Kraus. What's he doing there? Oh, no one got killed. That's the important part. People were safe. And coming back to the battle in front, he just did the same thing as me. Looks like Duck has caught up with Roy Key. And so has Josh Amiani. As George Worley goes into the pits.
Mitchell is right on the back of Roy Key now.
I think this might be the closest Mitchell has been since the start of the race to the back of Roy Key.
Yes, he was already scoping for a possibility going into turn 2, but was not quite close enough. And Roy Key is going defensive.
It's gonna be really hard.
Vasquez turns Hartman around.
Oh no.
That was such a clumsy collision. Like, looks like he just tapped the rear end of Hartman in just enough to spin the Mustang around. Not to beat around a dead horse, but the Mustang did spin around.
There's
Oh
a very
no,
close
Eddie
battle
missed?
going on between Funk, Miller, and McDonald.
Yes, I'm about to say that. These guys have been battling for a while, and the train is still going strong. Funk has a 3-second deficit to Patrick Rust, who's a part of another train going on here between Vargas Velasquez and Rust, the 2 teammates and Porsche. Our highest Porsche, mind you, who's climbed his way up from P19 to P10. So props to that. But yeah, this battle, Harold McDonald still hanging on. You can see how roughed up the McLaren's front end is. How's that car even going at the pace it is going now? I mean, these guys are doing 40s, 49s, and 50s, so I guess damage is not a problem here. It looks like David Mueller's gonna try sending it past Funk, but the GTR being the GTR, has the top speed to stay ahead, but Mueller sends already outside and he takes the place. Can he really be able to keep it in? Doesn't look like. And David Funk gets run around by Howard McDonald. That is tragedy.
Oh, now
And
he's stuck there as all these other drivers go by. He has to try to find a safe spot to rejoin.
He quits.
Oh.
Also, from earlier, Kraus apparently got a lot of damage in the incident that put him off track because he spent over 30 seconds repairing.
Ooh.
That does add up. Maybe did he hit the wall? Like he was alone. Looks like he was alone there.
You know, we've got a couple of pit stops, I believe. Jess Osborne and I believe that's Simon Goriel.
Yep, Goriel.
Into the pits. I think those normal pit times. So this appears to be just the start of maybe the first pit rush. I know from experience that undercut can be pretty powerful around this track, especially with how difficult it is to overtake. So I'm not terribly surprised that we've
Art
seen.
is gone.
Oh.
I can't
That's
find him in the
unfortunate.
standings.
He was off track and then disappeared.
Oh, replay mode. Thank you. That's gonna be GG's for Art. As we have Doug in the pits. I think he's trying to get the undercut on Roy Key here, but I think you can get away with pitting it with 45 minutes left on the clock.
I mean, you can get away with almost anything, especially in the Lexus, because overtaking on this track is extremely difficult to begin with, and if you have the car that has the most straight line speed, yeah, good luck.
That puts the pressure on Roy Key because, of course, you know, Douglas Mitchell was so close to him back when they were on the same tires, and now he's, of course, pitting for the fresh tires. So Roy Key's got to decide, does he come in now? Does he come in now and have to deal with those worn tires for the rest of the race, or does he hold out and hope that either A, the undercut won't be as powerful as Douglas Mitchell is hoping it will be, or that he's able to overtake Douglas Mitchell again on track with fresher tires, which, given the difficulty of overtaking around this track, not a guarantee at all. In fact, I'd say it might be a very difficult task. Looking through the standings, I'm not sure that there are very many close battles going on currently.
It's quite hard to tell, because the gaps are very inconsistent on this track.
Roy Key stays out for this first lap. That's he seems to be making a call here that he's not going to cover off that undercut. He thinks that it's too early to pit.
There's a train forming at P21-ish.
I do believe Anderson just got around Levine for 21st.
That seems like it might be true.
Tried to get it on the replay on the pit, but I don't think I replayed back far enough, unfortunately. I do believe that this is going to be Douglas Mitchell's first proper lap.
How long was I muted for?
A couple minutes. I think. You were muted?
Great.
Yeah, I haven't heard anything from you for a couple minutes, so if you're muted, that's unfortunate.
Great. I was about to say that Doug crucially came out in clear air.
Yeah, that is a super important thing. He's got 15 seconds just under to the next car ahead of him. And seems to be doing a pretty good lap time so far, but I mean, we'll see once he crosses the line what that final time is. What's going to be crucial is going to be comparing it to Roy Keith's laps and seeing if that undercut is in fact going to work for Mitchell.
Morley just went off track and lost significant amount of time. He's one of the people who have pitted already.
Yeah.
I think he was one of the first to pit. He lost like 4 seconds, maybe 5 seconds going off track.
And you don't want to do that because going off track also releases tire pressure as well as destroy your tires.
Yes, and especially when your entire strategy is based on lapping in clear air to be ahead of everybody and then defend on worse tires. That's not ideal.
Yeah. Looking at that last lap, Roy Keith at a 47.85, Douglas Mitchell 47.36. Douglas Mitchell almost around half a second faster on that last lap. If he keeps this up, I'd say he's going to complete that undercut. He's going to be taking the lead after the pit stops, but then of course the question becomes, will he be able to hold on to it? Very difficult track to overtake around, but not impossible.
Yeah, as someone
I mean, he only needs like 2 laps like that and he's done it. Damien in the pits.
Yep, and as someone who was stuck behind Jason Allen for a good chunk of the opening laps, you're not getting past the Lexus. Yeah, I can tell you that. Even if you have the better brakes, you're not getting past the Lexus unless you really force yourself past the car. So right now, as it stands, with how fast everyone is going, Doug is gonna take the lead once everyone pits. Well, I wonder if Royke knows that, and I wonder if he's gonna react by trying to push even more. Also, fastest lap of the race is Doug's teammate Matt Schwartz. His fastest lap is a 47.067. He's probably gonna get a penalty for this race because he took out Art, but it's still a strong showing from him in this race, anyways.
Douglas Mitchell out ahead of Damiani. The gap is 3 entire seconds. 3 seconds. And I do believe that Damiani was closer than 3 seconds to Roy Key. So if Roy Key pits right now, he's almost certainly going to come out behind Douglas Mitchell. And of course, now he also has the threat of the undercut from Damiani.
Oh, teammate violence going on here between the Porsches.
I believe the gap between Mitchell and Damiani was 0.9 seconds before the pit stop started.
Yeah, that's so the undercut is working for Doug here. As Ian Wheeler tries to carve up places, he goes past Cody Platt, Jess Osborne following Platt behind, closely behind. We are seeing definitely some movement up the field. Wow, the Mustang looks super sketchy. Wheeler did have a spin earlier in the stint.
Doug's last lap almost a second faster than Roy.
Yikes.
Pressure is on Roy Key to make a decision strategy-wise. Does he come into the pits or does he stay out for another lap, try to get a tire advantage?
I kind of feel like at this point, you're already too late to try to cover. So the best strategy is to just stick with the 50-50 split and try to get the optimum tire advantage you can get.
Yes, at this point he just got to commit in. He knows he's gonna lose a position, so right now he just have to make up for it just by having as much fresh tires as he can.
Osborne is right on the tail of Platt.
And also, I just realized something. This is the Jackson Storm livery from Car 3. The livery that Vasquez has on his car. And Doug actually sets the fastest lap. He's the first car into the 46s. So Doug's absolutely flying right here. We might actually see a Doug dominance, a Doug masterclass for once.
Hartman came out from the pits side by side with Osborne.
It looks like Jess stays ahead.
Just barely. They were side by side going into turn 1.
And he goes wide. That must be terrifying in the Porsche.
No wide.
Yeah.
Oh, key in the pits. Key in the pits.
He is finally pitting. Well, he's actually slightly ahead. I thought he'd go for the full 30 minutes. But where's that gonna put Doug? Well, actually, more importantly, where's that gonna put him related compared to Josh Damiani, who's also absolutely flying?
You know, Doug is not in clean air anymore. You know, he's just behind Levine, who dives into the pits in front of him. He is moving.
That's so lucky for Doug.
Yeah, Doug moves. What about Josh Damiani? Josh Damiani is gonna take P2 away from Roy Key, so Key loses 2 positions just from getting undercutted.
He's got much fresher tires now, you know. Mitchell might be the one head on track, but those drivers behind him, they might be able to go faster. They might be able to take that time back, especially with those fresher tires. I mean, you got to keep in mind. I mean, Key's tires now are going to be 9 minutes younger than Mitchell's tires, and that 9 minutes isn't going to be much right now. But once we get towards the end of the race, Mitchell's tires, they're going to be absolutely destroyed, and it's then where Key has some tires that still got a little bit left in them that we might be able to see the moves happen.
However, it's absolutely critical for that battle at the front that Damiani got past Key as well, because Key's gonna have to first pass Damiani before he can even try to catch Mitchell. That is incredibly nice for Mitchell, because he has a tail gunner. Even though they are not in the same team, but like still, that's gonna be a fight. It's gonna slow Key down, trying to fight through.
Yeah,
Definitely
having a buffer definitely helps. As looks like you're having more pitters. Looks like Penis, Russ, Schwarzenegger, and Hall, they have pitted. They're gonna come out together. And this battles between the BMW teammates is still brewing on. We haven't really touched up on these guys. They were mid-pack for most of Coda in Indy, and it looks like they are finally starting to stretch their wings out as well on this track. The BMW, as I said earlier in the race, is super nice to drive on this track.
Critical information from the pit lane. Roy Key's pit stop was slow, 4 seconds longer stationary than Mitchell or Damiani.
I don't think he picked up any damage. I think he may have just missed his pit box. Which was it from pressure?
The pit lane here is extremely bumpy, so it might have been that he had not practiced or just made a slight mistake there, because it is horrendously bumpy.
Oh, so horrible. If I recall correctly, when I made my pit stop during the race yesterday, when I was coming out of my pit box, my car just went airborne for a minute. I still don't know what I hit that caused it to do that. Very bumpy pit lane.
There's almost like stair steps in the pit lane, so some of the pit boxes are just really bad.
It looks like Jess Osborne does a pretty nice dive bomb on Schwarzenegger, and it looks like Polly Hartman's trying to follow through. They're going too wide into this corner, and except for the Ferrari just yields.
I think he kind of outbraked himself a little bit and went wide there.
Suave's in the pits. What was it? Camera zoom. Not a lot of battles out there on track, but looks like everyone has spread apart. And Doug has opened the gap onto Josh Damiani even more. There's a whole 5 seconds separating the Mustang from the Lexus.
Fairly critically, of the drivers who have not pitted, Schwartz had a really bad last lap. Lost 2 seconds, almost 2.5 seconds to the cars behind, and to everybody who has pitted already. That could be very expensive in terms of where he comes out after his pit stop.
These guys are turning too wide. Patrick Ross defensive plays from Harold McDonald, and McLaren gets squiggly out of the corner. Is there gonna be another dive bomb from Harold McDonald? No, he settles right behind a Porsche. It looks like Schwartz has pitted right now, but I think he might have ran wide because he has an invalid lap.
Yeah, I think you might be right there.
And also his previous lap was significantly slow. And I fear that that is gonna really hurt his position when he comes out from the pits.
Yeah, it's gonna be interesting because Matthew Schwartz is our silver leader right now, I believe. So it's gonna be interesting. It'll be interesting to see how far he comes. I think he'll still come out in silver lead, but he might be a couple of places down overall. Yep, he's already in 6th, but then again, there he goes. Everyone's going past. That is Roy Key. He comes out. Wait, he comes out in P5. Art is gone. Yeah, that explains things. I don't think Matt Schwartz lost a lot of places there. I think he might have gained may have gained 1 from Roy's accident. Not Roy, Art. Roy's teammate.
Yeah, he lost some time, but it wasn't as bad as could have been because seems like the gap behind was quite significant.
Yeah, and Schwartz
we still haven't seen Logan hit, so we still fully don't know where everything is gonna be. But
ooh, look at that
Hartman
Mustang
on
straight
Osborne
line.
into turn 1. Will he be able to hold it? Will he be able to? Oh, he backs out. But he might be able to set something up in turn 2. Doesn't look like he's gonna have the speed though. Pulls to the inside, just trying to get in the mirror of Jess Osborne. But it looks like Jess Osborne's gonna hold on to this position for now.
It looks like they're just playing it safe. Great defending from Jess, by the way. Parking the car just enough that the Mustang cannot get alongside him.
close fight between Rust, McDonald, and Miller.
Yeah, these guys have been battling out for most of the race. In fact, this is our only train, right, we have on this track.
Which is interesting because all of these guys have pitted more or less at the same time, so there's no significant tire advantage for anyone here.
The last of the drivers who have not pit up at the front have now dived to the pits, and Douglas Mitchell has inherited the lead. Damiani inherited P2. Roy Key inherited P3. That's reversed. Not quite reversed, but that's a little bit backwards from what we saw earlier. Roy Key losing 2 positions with the pit stop strategy, but he is now on the back of Damiani with fresher tires.
Remember to take a screenshot of this. Remember to frame this. Let's hope it stays this way for the remaining 28 minutes of this race. You have half the race to go. As Patrick Russ tries to go around Harold McDonald, but he doesn't go around. Instead, just goes off the track because I think he got bumped by Harold McDonald there. And yeah, that's the end of our train. We have no trains.
We got a replay on the pip right now.
Yeah, we got a replay in the pip.
In the pip, we got Rust right there. And McDonald goes a little bit wide on the curb, going through. Oh, a little bit of contact in the braking zone, and off he went. Super unfortunate. Oh, and then he spins when trying to get going back the right way. His tires are going to be on fire from that.
Okay, while we don't have a train per se, we have a concept of a train. And speaking of this so train here, Walter Vargas and his teammate Vasquez, was it Vasquez? No, it was not. He was Vasquez. There we go. These two have been separated. They entered the pits alongside each other, and now they have two cars. Oh wait, what? Both side by side.
Hartman and Osborne.
Osborne Hartman.
Oh, there we go. It looks like Polly Hartman's finally getting past the Porsche of Jess Osborne. Makes a clean, sticks it around the outside. Great move from Polly Hartman there.
Yeah, Osborne got really loose a couple of corners before, like completely sideways, and that kind of cost all the speed coming to the straight.
Something happened to Goriel? Yes, Goriel going wide there. Let me get the replay in the pips. Oh, just like he spun at some point.
And he's gone. Like, actually, no, he's not gone. He's an RTG, but you can assume that he's gone.
And we can already see the problem Rocky has. He's getting close to Damiani, but that's not really helpful because Doug Mitchell is running slightly away from those two.
Yeah, Doug still has the fastest lap. He also had the fastest last lap, which, well, it is.
Actually, he does not. Rocky has the fastest last lap, but it was
invalid.
Right, but it still matters in the sense of gaining on the cars in front. The problem
absolutely.
Is you still have to overtake.
Yeah, in the Mustang, it's not the easiest car to overtake for sure on this track. Same problem as the Lexus, fast as straight line, fast as their acceleration. And an even bigger problem is that the Mustang is good under braking.
Yeah, it's really a double whammy for Roy Key here because he has to overtake both of these drivers, and he's got just over 25 minutes, just around 25 minutes to do so. But both of the cars he's trying to overtake are have amazing top speed, and it's going to be really hard for him to get alongside them and to try to line up a move. But he's right on the back of Damiani now.
Unless they make mistakes like Damiani did there. But it wasn't enough. The acceleration of the Mustang saves the day.
You know who actually has the fastest lap right now and who's absolutely flying? The Lexus that you can actually see off in the distance, Matthew Schwartz. He's at a 46.3. That's faster than my qualifying lap.
And so we can expect him to join the fight for P2. And that's only gonna make Roy Key's position even more difficult. Because instead of just focusing on the car in front and trying to overtake, he's also gonna have to worry about the car behind and getting overtaken.
Yeah, and also Schwartz pitted later than both Key and Damiani. So he's gonna have the freshest tires out of this bunch. And right now we are seeing a formation of a train for podium, a battle for the podium place there. And Jess Osborne, he seems to have fallen back on Hartman a lot. He's not 3 seconds slower than Hartman, despite the overtaking only happening 1 lap ago. And Schwarzenegger's on his bumper already. So, does Jess have damage, or is his tires just ruined?
I think it's the tires. Osborne was one of the first to pit. And the Porsche is not exactly known for being kind on the rear tires. And if you look the way the car moves, the rear tires seem to be completely gone. It's completely sideways all the time.
Yeah, Osborne was one of the first drivers to pit. His tires are even older than Douglas Mitchell's.
That's true. And it looks like speaking of Doug, these guys are starting to close in on Doug. Well, actually, never mind. Doug's last lap was faster than both of them. I stand corrected. But Doug's teammate is 1 second behind Key, so there we go. We have a train now.
Schwarzenegger is really scoping for an attack on Osborne. Oh, and there's a spinner.
Ooh.
That was Cody Platt.
What happened there? Let me hop onto his stay on board. He just goes wide and spins. Yeah. Looks like the grass doesn't have traction.
Yeah.
And he did fact check it for us there, so yeah.
Wow, thanks. Thanks so much for fact checking that grass does not have traction. Such an important thing to know for racing, because of course you want to know, can you use the grass? Would that be faster? And now we know it will not be.
Will not be good. Did not touch grass. There we go. And Royke's on the bumper of Damiani. He's trying to swerve, trying to find an opening around the Mustang. But you're not going to find any openings around the Mustang on a straight line. As this battle is starting to pop off now.
Schwartz is already in the fight.
Yep,
Schwartz always sticking his nose in around the outside into turn 3.
That's brave, very brave.
Very brave, but he's gonna hold on to it just about. Doesn't really have much space. Oh, and he's a little bit on the curb, but he's got that straight line speed of Alexis. He might be able to bring it into the next corner, but does he have the brakes? He does not. Alexis does not have the brakes. But oh, who's this? Worley and Sullivan, I believe.
They were battling in the first stint, and now they're continuing to battle in the second stint. And Vasquez is behind. He tries to look at the inside of Worley, but yeah, there was no gap for them to go. As he got two battles going on, the battle for the podium and the pip, and the battle for E12 on the main screen here.
We see in the front battle that as soon as Schwartz and Royke started fighting, Damiani managed to pull a little bit away from them. It's even just a little bit of a fight slows you down so much.
Well, yeah, you're figuring too wide. That's going to compromise the racing line, and that is at least half a second gone. Looks like Schwartz might try to go. No, that's not it. But what about now? They're on a straight. As this battle seems to have calmed down ever so slightly. But yeah, but let's check out this battle here. You have Aaron Anderson on the bumper of Nico Sawi. Is that Mustang gonna try sitting around the outside of that Bentley? No, it's not. The Bentley, for how big it is actually better than the Mustang in the corners. Just cruises through every corner like it's not a problem. Coming back to this battle here, Aaron McDonough, he might get a penalty for his incident. I believe was it Paulie Hartman? I believe, I don't remember. He's on the bumper of Velasquez with Penis right behind.
It's interesting the way the battles are reforming after a little quiet period.
Yep, the concept of the trains are conceptualizing into real trains.
But
Yeah, well, I mean, they're fighting, and then something happens, and they lose time. They're separated, and then there's a little bit of time while they all catch back up, and then it's right back to the racing, right back to trying to go side by side into corners you probably shouldn't be going side by side into, but you're doing it anyways.
There's also the different pit strategies playing out. The train behind Osborne for P20 is very largely because Osborne pitted so early, and the guys behind pitted much later. And now we are seeing how the tire advantage plays out.
Really close there between Schwartz and Key. You might have seen on the pip there, but yeah, Schwartz was just a little behind Key heading into turn 1. Looked like he might be going for it. Decided to brake early. Ooh.
Vasquez just gets past Josh Worley here. Looks like Worley just went wide in the final few sets of corners, and that just allows the BMW to get past him.
very crucially for the race win, Damian is losing time to Mitchell, and because these two other guys are stuck behind Damian, they are also losing time to Mitchell.
Yeah, I know the Mustang isn't always the kindest to its rear tires. So, you know, we could be seeing that that effect that the rear tires of the Mustang are starting to go away with that early pit stop could be causing issues with the biggest advantage the Mustang has, which is its straight line speed.
And you,
To be completely fair, I don't think the Lexus is exactly kind to its rear tires either.
and coming back to this battle here, in the distance, you can see another Lexus joining the fray. That's Logan. He's lapping faster than these guys as they're battling. So this 3-car train might turn into a 4-car train.
Choo-choo, all aboard the Damiani train.
Oh, the Mustang runs super wide there. But doesn't look like Royke has the exit. Doesn't look like Schwartz has the toe that he needs. He's gonna try setting it up the inside of Royke. They're gonna go onto the pit lane. Royke tries shutting the door onto Lexus. Lexus gonna hang around the inside. They're gonna go into the brakes for the hairpins. Who's gonna be the last on the brakes? They both are equally on the brakes as Royke gets spun by Schwartz. And Logan also gets past him. Logan also spins and Schwartz...
Get a little squirrely out the corner. Oh, this is so unfortunate for Logan and for Schwartz, but for Damiani, this is a breath of fresh air. He now has a 4.5 second, nearly 5 second gap to the cars behind him. He might have been stressing about how am I going to keep all these cars behind me? They're going so hard, but now he's got gap and he's got a gap and he's got time.
Oh, Chris is out in the wall. What's his excursion result off? And looks like he just gets. Does he get touched by the McLaren?
That's a hard hit.
Or does he just loses it?
I don't think he got bumped there. I'm pretty sure.
That looked like net coding on my screen.
It could have been net coding, yeah.
That's unfortunate for him. But yeah, coming back to this battle, Schwartz already has an incident on him. He took out Royke's teammate, Art. So that's the second blue BMW that he has hit.
I was going to mention that he has gotten into an incident with both of the cars from the same team.
Yeah, someone's not a fan of the
Oh no!
Yugoslavian drifts the car across that. That is something that you see out of a speedball competition.
He got hit there.
Yep. Let's go lose one more position to Anderson, or one more to actually. That is that Kraus? Yep, he loses 2 positions to Platt and Kraus.
Worley is under serious attack from Rust. I believe it's his early pit stop. The tires on the Bentley are not there really anymore.
Yeah, the Porsche's still hanging on. And look at the Porsche behind. It's Selena Boonstra. Never mind, she just gets overtaken by Cody. But I think she's made up how many positions? She's made up 10 positions since the start of the race. So,
you know, House has made up 10 positions. Joshua Worley also up 10. He made that early pit stop, and it wasn't sure, and he is kind of getting swallowed up right now. But I tell you what, I think their early pit stop may be paying off. He's 10 positions up. I don't think he's going to be losing all 10 of those positions back before the end of the race.
I'm not sure he's going to lose even one, because Rust is going to have a really hard time overtaking Worley.
yeah, and Aaron Anderson, 11 places up on where he started. Not the biggest gains, but these are crucial gains. And another fact that I want to point out is that we have 3 cars, all Lexuses, with the highest speed trap speed of 246 kilometers per hour.
Yeah.
Oh wow, they have the exact same top speed.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's not necessarily super surprising.
Yeah,
It's not surprising.
but
Lexus
yeah.
is the fastest, certainly.
But yeah.
What is kind of surprising is that the BMW of Roy Key actually has a higher speed trap than the Ford Mustang of Josh Damiani.
That's because Key has been in tow, in Josh Miani's tow.
Could be, but also so much of the speed on the straight depends on how good you are at the last corner. So depending on where each of the drivers is strong on this track, the lap time and the top speed don't necessarily fully match. Oh, Rust is really close to Worley.
Yeah, looks like Jackson gets past Velasquez, and Rust does not get past Worley.
He thought about sending it on the inside, but backed out, which was probably the right call to do.
Well, we have seen a fair few share of accidents happening at the hairpin this race. It was probably the better call.
I think both of these two are actually catching the cars in front.
Oh, Anderson has lost her place to Schwarzenegger. I think this is just oh, the Mustang is getting super squirrely out of the exit. And
Nothing after McDonald lost 2 spots to Mueller and Vargas. Let's see if I can get the replay on the pip. Looks like it might be a little bit too late.
Yeah, it looks like it. No, never. Yep, it's a bit too late.
No, because I think there's Mueller right behind him there. Oh, just went wide at turn 6.
Oh, he almost gets hit. That doesn't get hit. Thank God.
Bit of a sketchy rejoin, but, well, yeah, all's well that ends well.
Well, doesn't look like he had any option for where to rejoin.
Yeah.
This battle is still popping off between Anderson and Schwarzenegger. They're both on the bumper of Jess Osborne.
Yeah, we have a new Osborne train.
I think the train just backed off and now it's just reformed. The engine is the same.
Yeah,
You know,
Osborne just
something-
really doesn't have the tires anymore. If
Something
you
I'd
look
like
at the
to-
way that Porsche comes out from the corners, there's just no tires.
Well, it looks like Anderson's also not faring off with the tires because we did see his Mustang wiggle a lot out of the exit of turn 4. Turn 3.
He has the
something-
freshest tires from this group though.
Something I'd like to point out here is we were talking at the start of this race how our team championship leaders, Thomas Olhausen and Mueller, were looking like they might lose their lead here. But I tell you what, both of them have improved quite a bit. Thomas Olhausen up 5 positions, Mueller up 8 positions, both of them in the top 10. Olhausen, not too far behind Logain, maybe going to be able to close that gap and challenge for a top 5.
It seems like just consistency and staying out of trouble is paying off for them.
Anderson got past Schwarzenegger, and he's gonna try getting past Jess Osborne. They're going too
Osborne.
wide, and Jess
Osborne
doesn't
braked
pass.
way too late. I missed the corner completely.
Oh, he's gonna try going for a switchback, but he knows what car he's trying to outdrag.
Certainly difficult to outdrag a Mustang, especially in a Porsche with worn tires.
Logan has closed the gap to Roy Keeg almost completely.
Yeah, Roy does have damage, and looks like Logan is faster. But I wonder how much his tires are also destroyed from spinning.
Oh, they got a little close there into turn 6.
It looks like Logan would have actually stayed ahead of Roy if he hadn't spun. Actually, I think he would have also overtaken Schwartz and put himself in the podium. But I believe Roy Key, to stay in the podium, all he needs to do is just stay behind Schwartz. He doesn't need to get past him. I don't think he can contest for the win anymore, but he can still hold on to the podium if he stays ahead of Logan and stays with him.
Well, he's P4 right now because he got Mitchell, Damiani, and Schwartz behind him. That's the podium. He isn't in the podium. If he wants the podium, he has to get around somebody.
Yeah, but Schwartz might get a
Well-
penalty for it. He probably is going to get a penalty for taking out two cars.
You
Yeah,
got a
but
point there, actually.
I would expect he's gonna get a penalty for at least one of those. The second one could be debatable. I think the first one was pretty easy case. So yeah, I think for Roiki, just holding on to what he has is probably the best he can hope for right now. He doesn't seem to have the pace to catch the cars in front anyway, so all he needs to do is not to make any mistakes.
And Schwartz is reacting to that. He had the fastest last lap. So I know he knows that he's going to get a penalty. And I'm pretty sure he is trying to extend the gap as much as he can to soften the blow. As this battle is still going on, Schwarzenegger cannot find a way past Jess Osborne. And I like to point it out that these two Ferraris going side by side, they're different kinds of Ferraris. One's a 488 and the other's a 296. Oh, Logan's on the bumper of Roiki. He gets bumped again. That's the second time this this BMW has been touched by Lexus.
Also, Schwartz has caught up to Damiani.
That's
The gap
yeah,
is close to less than a second now.
that's wild.
And they're in the last lap, Schwartz caught by 8 tenths on Damiani.
Yeah, I mean, on paper that's going to be a Lexus 1-2, and 1-2 for the Lexus is on the same team as well. Also,
Schwartz lining up around the outside of Damiani. Doesn't manage to stick it around there because it is a hairpin, not surprising. But he does get a switchback, and he's going to stick it around the outside of turn 3. Once again, Damiani just holding on to it. But I tell you what, that kind of pressure isn't something we saw Key being able to put on Damiani. So I think that Schwartz really has a chance, a good chance of getting around Damiani here and taking P2. But of course, with the likely penalty heading his way, who knows where he'll wind up.
ooh, Josh Worley gets swirly and he goes wide, and Patrick Russ finally gets past the Bentley. And I like to point that out that in the last lap, Olhausen has caught up within 2 seconds of Logan. So if these two are battling out and they go even slower, we might have another train forming on.
Hartman just went off in T1 a moment ago.
It looks like he only lost one place from this. Which I guess is not the worst thing, considering how many off-tracks he has seen so far.
Oh, Schwartz is so close to Damiani now.
Oh, and
And
Damiani
Damiani
goes
gets
so
a really
wide.
bad exit.
This is
really
it.
bad
This is
exit.
it.
Or
This is it right here. Schwartz getting around Damiani. There's not going to be a better chance than this, and he's ahead, coming into turn 1. Damiani on the inside. Will he be able to hold on to it?
Oh, Damiani has the inside, and he does hang
Just
on
about.
to it.
Schwartz going a little wide. Lucky he didn't wind up spinning with how bumpy that was going back on track.
He also missed out on this overtake here. And now this is actually a train. Thomas Olhausen and Jacob Hall are right behind. Peters is a bit far away. He's 15 seconds behind Hall, so I don't think he's going to join in the battle.
If I was Damiani, here's the question I'd be thinking about. Is it worth defending this position, knowing that the car behind likely has penalties hanging on their head?
Well, does he know though? Is the thing, because that happened in his rearview mirror. He wasn't involved in that accident in the same way as that Key, Schwartz, and Logan, where he very well might not really know who's getting the penalty there.
Olina gets forced onto the grass by Ryan Cody. That's not Ryan Cody, that's Ian Wheeler.
I think for the first incident he would be much more aware than the second one. But yeah, that's true that if he wasn't really paying attention to what's happening in the mirrors, it would be hard to know.
Another thing to specify about these penalties is that these are mid-race penalties. They're not lap 1 penalties. They won't be looked at unless they're actually reported.
I think what happened in the hairpin is very likely to wind up getting reported.
Well, it needs to be reported, that's the thing. So unless it's reported, you might not get a penalty.
Well, we'll see, because Schwartz is right on the back of Damiani again, heading into turn 1. He's not going to be close enough for a move just yet, but is he going to be able to try to set something up for the next corner? Doesn't go wide this time, pulls off to the inside, then to the outside as Damiani tries to cover it off. He's not able to make an overlap, not able to find a spot to send it. Heading into turn 3, I don't think he's close enough. He's going to have to hold behind for another lap until he gets to another potential overtaking position, unless Damiani makes a mistake. Oh, Schwartz!
Whoa,
Holy
Schwartz.
cow!
Oh my god, that was close from Schwartz.
Holy cow! That was close.
What
I
happened?
tell you what, there's a code brown in his car right now. I almost guarantee it.
Oh! That was close! That was too close. As Worley goes slow, he loses a place to Russ. Russ spins Velasquez around. And Velasquez spins himself back onto track. Doesn't get slowed down too much. As this battle's still going on, looks like Paulie Hardman has opened up a second on Jess Osborne, but Schwarzenegger's right on his bumper. What happened here? Yeah, this battle happened already. What happened to Kraus? Kraus dives deep. He takes out Cody Platt. There's so many car parks. The race is starting to unravel itself going into the final lap. As Doug Mitchell crosses the line, he wins Snetterton.
I didn't even realize we were at the end of the race, but everything's kicking off here on the final lap. So many incidents coming out of nowhere.
Yeah, and Josh Damiani goes P2. Matthew Schwartz comes P3. That's Alexis 1-3. He might get a penalty though, and that's gonna put Roy Key up on the podium as well. So Roy Key up into P4. Logan is P5, and Thomas Aldhausen, Jacob Hull, and Penis running at P8. In P10, we have Harold McDonald. What a recovery drive from him. He has not had a nice race, and followed by the BMW or Wilder Workers. That's going to be our top 10. But the main story here, Sir Douglas Mitchell wins a race.
Yeah, there he is doing donuts in the grass on the exit of, I do believe that's turn 4, isn't it?
I don't know, I can't count.
Yeah, that's turn 4.
It's turn whatever number it is. There we go. But yeah, that's this is. Let him enjoy it. Let him enjoy the donuts that he's doing. Wonder if he's gonna have celebratory donuts, celebratory donuts after this. But yeah, that's gonna mark our end for D2 round 3 at Snetterton. Ooh, fellas, what do you think about this race so far?
Oh my goodness, that was an intense race. I mean, it had a little bit of everything, you know. Fairly close, like really close battle in qualifying. I think the top 3 were all within a 10th or something. 3 or 4 were all within a 10th, really close. You know, had a fairly clean lap 1, which was nice. And then it had some really tight battles for the podium positions. I'm not sure what else you could be asking for.
Yeah, I mean, the battle for podium positions was insane. I mean, we saw a lot of trains break apart and reform, and it was a crazy, chaotic finish to the race. So, yeah. And, yeah, what do you think about the race, Oppo?
I am a little bit surprised about the amount of drama in this race, considering how clean the first lap was, and like it started so well, but then it went not so well after. But also, I am not surprised how much the pit strategy played into this.
Oh yeah, pit strategy did absolutely make a difference here in this race. The undercut from Doug. Actually, you know what? Should we hear it from the man himself?
Yes, we should.
Who should we? What order do we do this? Do we do the third to first, or do we do it from first to third? Because I see all three.
I don't see Damiani or Schwartz in
I see
G2 race chat
Schwartz.
just
I
yet.
see Schwartz. He's in.
Oh, he's up there.
Yeah,
Okay,
so
yeah.
you can pull him in. Right, let's start with Schwartz. Let's abduct him while he's streaming. Oh great, I can't move. Give me a moment. Skill issue. Me. All right.
Normal spot. I'm gonna.
Oh,
hit...
Matt Schwartz, you have been
Hey!
kidnapped to the commentary booth.
Okay.
Mid streaming. Sorry to do that. But yeah, first of all, congrats on the podium. How you feel about the race? Talk us through it.
Weekend kind of unraveled in quali. Was like 0.3 off my pace, and then got stuck in traffic. I need to watch back the incident with Art. But I was just looking at the one with Key. So we'll see what penalties look like. But car felt good. 46.3 in race trim. Not too bad. So.
Yeah, it does look like you have the fastest lap of the race at 46.3. That's absolutely wild. Lexus Bob getting into the fray here. I know you have been a long-time member of SRA. Probably been here longer than all three of us combined. But is this your first podium?
No, I've won a couple races.
Oh, there we go.
But I've been away for like 3 months. So this is my first season back. Or I've been away for like 3 seasons. First time back.
Yeah.
Race. So
welcome back.
Figuring out the Lexus. Fun car. Brakes are a little sus, but that's just what you get for when it's a rocket ship down the street. So.
Oh yeah, I mean, all 3 Lexuses. Well, we're on the piece. Not all 3, but there was 3 Lexuses in the top 6, so you guys did do well. I believe Oppo and Mac, they have questions for you as well.
Yeah, like you were obviously you had your pit stop and you wound up chasing down those top 3 drivers. What was going through your head as you were chasing down those drivers? Maybe looking at possibly getting your way into the podium positions before the incident.
It was just I knew I had the pace, so just do your laps and then you'll catch up, and then we'll have to go for something because it's Snetterton, and just hope that I would kind of be given space, but try to take some space. So we'll see. We'll just see how it goes. It's tough to say. I don't. It's hard. It's hard coming right out of the race. You got to look at things back and.
Yeah, I saw you had a moment on, I believe it was the last lap, coming out of, I believe it was turn 3. Got a little squirrely. Seemed like it was great fun.
I want to watch that one back because I saw the grass and then I saw track again. So definitely got a little sideways, but held it and just kept going. So at least I didn't spin out.
Yeah, what about you, Oppo? You got any questions for Matthew Schwartz?
So I'm curious, what was your thinking when you saw Mitchell pit very early? Did you consider covering the pit stop, or?
So yeah, at the start of the race, I was doing 47 zeros on full fuel. So my plan was to try to do the rare overcut and just basically when I caught traffic, just pit and then have the fresher tires at the end and hopefully could make a move. So, which is very tough here, but it is what it is.
It is what it is.
Interesting.
But at the end, it all worked out. A provisional podium for you. Fingers crossed it stays that way. Because
We'll see. I think it should be at least a silver podium still. So hopefully I didn't throw away the silver win being too aggressive with the golds, but we're here to race and we're trying to always get the P1. So.
And I mean, the points you get are still for the overall standing, so you should fight them.
Yep. So it's super fun. Happy to be back.
Welcome back to the podium.
You know,
And welcome back to SRA as well.
Yeah. Super nice.
I do believe that's everything we have, so we'll go ahead and send you on back to the chat you were in previously.
Thank you guys so much.
Yeah,
And
good luck with the rest of the season.
Yep. Thank you.
that was our podium sitter, professional podium sitter, Matt Schwartz. Let's pull in our P2 driver, which we know that it's probably gonna stick in P2, Josh Damiani. Hey Josh, welcome to the commentary booty, Alice.
Hey, how's it going, guys?
Great. Welcome back to the commentary booth, and congrats on your second P2, I believe, this season. Walk us through your race.
I was a very, very lucky result. I'm sure everyone got a big taste through the broadcast. I didn't really have the pace to hold on to that position. It was 60 minutes of sweating and hoping to hold on to positions. Yeah, very scary when Roy and Schwartz both ended up on my bumper in the back half of the race there. Fortunate for some curb effects and some battles, but yeah, all in all, just a lucky result, in my opinion.
I mean, I guess you were running. It's a back-to-back podium, so I don't think there's much luck involved. It's more of a skill.
I appreciate that.
Yeah. Anyways, moving on to the other questions. You guys have any questions for our P2 finisher, Josh Damiani, or returning P2 finisher, and not a friend of the booth, not a stranger.
Yeah, so you mentioned that it seemed like a lucky finish. You know, you were going and you were doing pretty good, and then of course you had Roy Key and Schwartz bearing down on you. You mentioned like seemed like you were sweating for the whole 60 minutes, but what was it like in those moments where those drivers behind you were fighting amongst each other and kind of just gave a little bit of space? You know, was that relaxing, or was it more just stress invoking that, yeah, they're gone now, but they're going to catch right back up?
It was definitely a little bit of weight off of the chest. You know, I had that opportunity to breathe and recoup, kind of think about the corners I was making mistakes on a little bit more than just having to make sure I get it right, you know. But when the incident happened between Schwartz and Roy, at that point I knew I was in trouble from there to the end of the race because my pace was only going to get worse, and that Lexus was scary fast. So it was a little bit of a reprieve, but it really didn't do me any benefit because I could sit there for an hour and that Mustang is not going to get any better.
I mean, I feel like the Mustang isn't the worst car here. I mean, I guess it's scarier in the third sector especially, but I feel like it can hold its own in the first two sectors.
It's just brutal. Again, on the rear tire wear, this is one track that definitely kills you, and the long right-hander, the penultimate turn, very noticeably slower than any of the other cars, so it's stressful trying to figure out how to go faster and not like end up just immediately exceeding the grip limit and sliding off the track. So I don't know. I'm glad we're done with it. Spa is a much more traditional track, and I very much enjoy it. So
So, despite saying that this track is brutal on the tire wear in the Mustang, you still did somewhat of an undercut. Was that pre-planned, or was it just kind of reacting to what's happening around you?
a little bit of both. I would say more reactive based on thinking that I could bang out a couple close to quali laps on the fresh tires and hopefully make up for the group that very quickly caught up to the lead group of myself, Roy, and Doug in the start of the race. Um, I would say the initial game plan was closer to the halfway point, just try and balance the wear out.
I will say, I don't know if you know, but you got a little bit lucky in that Rocky had a little bit of a slow pit stop. If he had had a perfect pit stop, he would have been ahead of you after the pit stops.
I wondered. I didn't think I did that good. I was like, wow, the undercut really was powerful. Doug and I both jumped him, but Doug made sense. I got more lucky. Huh.
Still, like, that was a good strategy, I believe. And sometimes you just need to be lucky.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, you don't know until you try, and you can either call it a strategy call or you can call it luck. But either way, you keep it in the notebook and you bring it to the next time you race at Snetterton.
Which is probably in the next 7 seasons.
Yeah, sometime in the next 7 seasons.
Yeah, I think that's all the questions we have for now. Congrats on the podium. Congrats on making it 3 podiums in a row. We're gonna move you back, and we'll probably see you again at Spa.
Hopefully. Thank you very much for putting on another great show tonight, and have a good evening, everyone.
Have a good one.
Thanks, you too.
And that is RP2 finisher Josh Damiani. And now on to the interview that you all been probably waiting for in the chat. Our winner, second time back in the booth this season, is gonna be Doug Mitchell. Doug, you have been kidnapped and been sent to the commentary booth. You have us.
Hello.
Hello. First of all, congrats on your win. Lex is finally getting to the top step of the podium. How does it feel? Talk us through your race.
If you told me a week ago that I'd be winning the Snetterton race, I would have laughed until I was blue in the face. So I'm pretty stoked right now, to be honest with you.
Well, it is an event. It is a reality now, so you just gotta let that sink in.
Yeah, I set my personal best in qualifying, and I was able to sneak by Damiani on the first corner, and the rest was just keeping it pointed in the right direction. And then I took the bold strategy of trying to undercut a little early to get ahead of Roy, and it paid out. I had 3 consecutive purple laps to get out ahead of him, which felt pretty spicy. And then after that, it was just managing the tires, and I was really pleasantly surprised with how smooth everything was. And I don't know if there was something in the water tonight, but every time I would come up to a car that I would have had to have passed for position because I had pit early, they just pit right in front of me. It was literally lost 0 time. It was utter perfection. So
Yeah, you
couldn't have asked for any better.
You got the clean air to put the laps in to get past Roy.
It was dreamy.
So you mentioned the strategy. How much of that was pre-planned versus on the fly?
I told myself I was going to pit at the 40-minute mark, and then ended up pitting at the 45-minute mark as like a spur of the moment decision. So the undercut was definitely in the cards, but not that early. But I kept making mistakes behind Roy, and he was like swerving on the back straight to try and break the toe. Like it was all just one big distraction. So I just took the risk and said, I'm going to get out from behind this and see if I can, kind of mitigate the distraction here. And it ended up working, which was awesome.
It worked perfectly.
Yeah, it was working, to say the least. I kept messing up my braking points, and then because he was swerving, I was trying to maintain the toe, and then my weight transfer at the car was all wrong when I was going into the corners, so it was working pretty well. So I had to get out from behind it. But this is the first win as a father, so I want to dedicate this race to Madison Harper.
There we go. Dedicating. Is it a kid or?
Oh, that's my baby.
All right.
That's my baby girl.
There we go. Dedicating the win to your daughter.
Oh,
that's
yeah.
great.
Oh yeah.
Becky,
how was the race from your guys' perspective?
Well,
Very exciting. There was a bit of fireworks that happened on the final lap.
You guys kept us entertained. That's all I'm gonna say.
That's good.
And you have your work cut out for the zero sheet.
Yep.
Luckily, that's not my department. So.
Well, then enjoy your win, because I don't think you were involved in any incidents, so you won't. I don't believe you'll be getting any penalties.
Nope. This week I was clean as a whistle. I can't say that the same thing for previous weeks, but this week is perfect.
I mean,
my teammate, on the other hand, not so much.
I guess the stewards can mistake in the cars.
What's not?
Yeah, you never know, and maybe your win will be gone because they mistook the cars. Who could guess?
Wouldn't be the first time I lost a top step of the podium position because of a clerical error. So, hey, we take we take what we can get now, you know. So, but I'm pleasantly surprised, to say the least.
Yeah, and I think everyone's happy. I think Diego will finally start complaining about everything now as you won. So,
number one hype man in all of the Racing Alliance Nation.
SRA. Number one Doug fan.
Diego, this one's for you, bud.
There you go, Diego. You finally won something, a dedication. And yeah, that's gonna. I guess that's gonna be us. I think. Does anyone have any more questions, or do we send Doug back to where he came from?
Back to the Shadow Realm.
Back to the Shadow Realm. All right. Enjoy your time in the Shadow Realm, and make sure not to drink too much tonight.
No, that was earlier tonight.
Oh.
But now it's just milk for the baby and then bedtime. So y'all have a good night. Thanks for hosting and making a fun show for everybody. And we'll catch you next week.
Yep. Oh, next week? Oh, okay. All right. Already casting your predictions at Spa.
You
right?
seem pretty confident.
I'll see you on stream next week. I don't even remember where we're racing.
And he's getting this cocky. Oh man.
But where are we racing next week?
We're racing at Spa, aren't we?
Oh, you might not see me next week. I'm just gonna throw that out there.
Why?
I'm terrible at Spa.
Spa has straights.
It does have straights, which the Lexus likes, but it has also a lot of corners that I am terrible at. So
it's not just every corner straights followed by corners. Same thing.
Yeah, that's the problem. I just need Monza. That's what we need.
Hey, you made a calendar. You should have snuck it in there.
No, blame
Yeah,
Martin.
I just put it in next season.
All right, there we go. Blame
Hashtag
Martin.
I'm sure nobody at all will complain.
Monza for 7 weeks and then Nordschleife to finalize it out. I think people would riot.
Well,
all right. I have a very fussy baby, so I'm gonna head off. But you guys have a great rest of your night. Thanks for everything.
Good. Thanks for putting on a show, and enjoy the rest of your evening.
You bet. Thanks, guys.
Have a good one. And that is our podium. Podium? No. That's our overall winner, Doug. And speaking of Spa, that's not Spa. That is Spa, the one on the top right corner. That's our racing next week. It is, lo and behold, Spa-Francorchamps. Everyone, sim racing's favorite racing track, and a track where everyone collectively has more laps than there are bacteria on Earth. So yeah, next week's Spa. This track needs some introduction. It's gonna be sunny. Hopefully it's not too hot. Hopefully everyone knows how to drive their cars without dying in Eau Rouge and Blanchimont. I am excited to be at Spa because my car is pretty nice to drive there.
I am really looking forward to it. I think that's, other than the potentially wet races, that's probably one of my strongest for this season. So yeah, really looking forward to having something fun.
Oh yeah,
Spa is just one of the most iconic tracks, not just in sim racing, but in all of racing overall. One of the most iconic tracks in the world. I am really looking forward to doing some racing there.
Yeah, and I actually got some facts up for Spa that I will save it for next week. God. All right. Yeah, but yeah, that's gonna be it from us. This for Snetterton. I love the rest of the calendar. I love Spa. I like Hungaroring. So much fun. Red Bull Ring is. It is what it is. People love it. I find admit. Barcelona, dry wet race. That's gonna be lovely, and Imola is gonna be great because that's a qualifying track. That's where I actually have pace. But yeah, that's gonna be the rest of the calendar. And yeah, to wrap it up, we have the sponsor segment. Who wants to do the honors this week? Or I can do it. All right, cool. I'll do it. Sponsors. A huge thanks to you, our SRA sponsors, and our title sponsors for supporting us at SRA, as well as support from Documize, a modern business solution for product management. Go to documize.com to learn more. And support from RetroSaga, a North American-based gaming company that provides accessories for your favorite classic systems, including Nintendo, Sega, PlayStation, and much more. I wonder if Switch 2 is going to be involved in the fray. Enhance your retro gaming experience with retrosaga.ca. A big thanks to affiliate Track Racer, redefines gaming with Track Racer's high-quality sim rigs and accessories. Use code SRATE, SRA being all caps by the way, TE being lower, at checkout to support us. Armamentario, a toolbox for ACC that will enhance your chance to win. Enjoy a fully customizable and enhanced HUD to change the way you experience ACC. GT3 Sim Shop, upgrade your sim racing experience with premium 3D accessories featuring precision crafted magnetic shifters, sleep cable management solutions, versatile Steam Deck mounts, immersive dashboard displays. Their innovative design enhances performance and style. Elevate every laptop to your quality and craftsmanship at a3td.net. Go Setups, premium esports setups for everyone. Use affiliate link on our Discord and take your drive to the next level. I believe the BMW setups were using Go because the BMW here Go setups feels amazing. Castle and Cauldron, a home-based crafting business specializing in handmade Harry Potter, Fantastic Beasts, and Fairy Roll collectibles, magic wands, potions, mini dioramas, wall deckers, costumery, cosplays, and much more. Castle and Cauldron is where crafting meets magical. Visit facebook.com/Castle Cauldron. And finally, from KP Concepts, your source for custom automotive rendering, graphic designs, and printing. We spend countless hours making you look good, all for the spectacle. Check out kpconcepts.com for more. And I wonder if you'll see our vendors for D2, like last season, having a KP Concepts poster to commemorate their win. And that's gonna be it from us this week. We will see you all at Spa. You guys got any final thoughts before we wrap it up?
I definitely make sure to tune in for Spa. Gonna be a great track, and usually has pretty good racing too. Things were pretty tight this race, and a track that can support some really good racing. I think it's gonna be even better.
Yep, it's gonna be even better, and we will see you at Spa Day. Have a good one, everyone. Goodbye.